So we're wrapping up how to teach math to your homeschoolers. If this is the first video that you've seen, the last videos before, 3 or 4 videos before, are all about how to teach math from kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade, focusing on arithmetic, the basics that your kids are going to need for life, not rushing forward to get into the higher mathematics. This video is a wrap-up video. So now I want to just talk about high school and beyond mathematically and what that could look like for you at home. Um, don't still in high school, don't overthink math. If on the lowest side, if all your children get is a solid foundation in arithmetic, and then later they choose to do higher math in college or university, they're going to be surrounded by professors and tutors and study groups that they will be able to learn anything that they need to know. High school is a perfect time if your kids are going to at least get through algebra. So you want them to be earning the types of credit that will enable them to get into college or university if that's what they choose to do. And you'll be tiptoeing into algebra. This is where I'm going to tell you that the phrases that you want to speak over your kids often are: there's more than one way to solve a math problem. Most math problems that are wrong, that where you get it wrong, are because you did a simple math error, not because you don't understand the math. It's those, we all do it. 2 plus 2 is 5. It's like, and we miss it because we're just focusing on the math and we do this half page worth of math and we get it wrong. We're like, what? I was sure I was doing it right. So in high school, specifically, when the kids are using, and I used curriculum at this point, I used teaching textbooks and a Bekki, Saxon Math, different ones. But I loved the textbooks that had the teacher's edition that had all of the steps and the answer on there in the teacher's edition for multiple reasons. I was teaching multiple levels of math. And so I didn't want to have to think too hard about what the kids were doing. I wanted to be able to glance and see what they were doing. So I wanted all those steps right there. But in high school specifically, I would have the kids grade their own math. We actually did it all the way through once I was sure that the kids weren't cheating. Because yeah, they cheat. Okay, so what they would do is they would do 3 or 4 problems, and then I would have them grade their math, checking the steps to see if they got it wrong, they'd have to figure out where they got it wrong. And the reason they would do 3 or 4 problems and then check is it's the worst thing in the world to do 30 problems and to realize that you did all 30 of them wrong, that you were making the same mistake. You don't want that muscle memory in there. You want the muscle memory of self-correcting. So have your kids grade their own work. In algebra, you're emphasizing things like you're going to get stuck. So what are you going to do when you get stuck? Where can you find help? Sometimes it's mom, sometimes it's dad, sometimes it's a brother or a sister. One of my boys is a very strong math science brain. So if the kids got stuck, they would ask Sam, how do you do this problem? And Sam would think about it and he would teach the problem and he would make sure that they followed all the steps. And it was fantastic. There's a lot of tutor type videos online, and I will list my favorite ones down below in the descriptions. You'll have to hunt for the ones that fit you best, but you're going to want to focus on algebra. And if that's what your kids are doing, the higher math is really up to you. If you are solid and the kids love math, they got to love it. The higher math is chunky and hard. And if they don't have a love for mathematics, or if they don't see a very definite, real purpose for that math in their future, it can cause things like migraines or tension in your relationship or just meltdowns. And those are things that happened in my house when I pushed my kids too fast, too far in math. But when they get to the later grades, if your kids are going to go into trade school or college or community college where they need their math skills, I'm going to encourage you to do something similar to what we did. And that was the year before the kids were going to do the next thing. Okay. Whether they were going to graduate and go to community college, or like three and a half of them, they did their last 2 years of high school at the community college. So they needed to take placement exams to get there. What we did was math boot camp. And we spent at least 6 months going back over all of the basic concepts. Again, it's all about the foundations. So, do they understand all of the math vocabulary? Do they understand all of the mathematical properties? Do they understand how to solve this type of problem, that type of problem, this type of problem? And we would find the holes of what they still weren't rock solid on. And then we would just boot camp it. We would study it together. We would practice it together. We would find help if they needed help. And we would study to help them get ready for the next thing. For us, it wasn't about passing math, it wasn't about getting a grade. It was always equipping them for life. It's such a beautiful perspective to do it in that way. We want them to know, and we found opportunities to show them that. I loved one time we had a plumber that came to the house, and he was a homeschool dad. He was older, and he was installing a shower in our home as a rental, and he brought a new shower, and then he's outside and he's like, "Boys, come here." So my boys go, 'cause he's a nice man. He was here for days and days. And he's like, "This is one of those lessons that is hard learned. You may have heard it said, measure twice, cut once." Well, I didn't do that. I measured once and then I cut it, and I cut it too small. So I'm going to have to go back to the store and I'm going to have to buy a new shower out of my own pocket because I made the mistake of not checking my math before I actually cut things. So that high school lesson of there's real life application for mathematics, super important. And the last thing is to understand that whether or not your kids go on to higher math, or whether, like one of mine, they go all the way through the calculuses, or like one of mine, they did the very bare minimum of math so that they could go into what it is they wanted to do. It's not a reflection of how educated your kids are. Once your kids are around 12, 14 years old, you're going to start to see what direction they're heading, and you're going to start wrapping academics around their future in a way that's going to help equip them for real life. For some of your kids, that's going to mean higher math. For a lot of the kids, it's going to mean more music or more writing or cooking or fill in the blank. Each area of expertise will have its own academic path. So don't sweat the math so much. In the descriptions below, I will add links to my favorite tutor to YouTube videos or YouTube channels online, which I leaned on heavily, and any other resources that I think will help you as you are navigating math through high school. But again, don't overthink the academic stuff. It is so much more important to build strong relationships with your kids and to enjoy life and to bring academic type learning right along with you while you're project planning or cooking or adventuring. You will get so much, they will get so much further in life with that solid confidence that they are loved and they are seen and they are valued, whether or not they ever touch algebra. So important. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.